sound of Ed chewing.
Jesus Christ. Paul, you do me a big favour? Can you grab me a beer from the fridge?
I don't want to sit in anymore. Can I switch places with somebody else? Fucking go for it. That's why you're not going to invite me round, isn't it?
No.
Yeah, we're muting Paul's. That ain't even hooked up.
Yeah.
I've been recording for the last like a minute, so.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Well, who's introducing it then?
Nah, this is just to have something there.
Are you going to do that? You can do that really fantastic clap.
I think we should do.
Can you do it in like a sachet thing, like a sort of like?
Do you want to do it?
Spanish festival dancer.
He's obviously loving it.
I want to see you do it. Go on, do it.
Hang on.
One thing I will say, let's try not to talk over each other as well.
Yeah, we was going to discuss.
It's a hard one though, because I was thinking.
What did he just say? This is nice juice.
Is it the Tesco one?
No idea.
The Tesco one is also tropical juice.
Yeah, it's all
Do
right.
you remember Sunny Delight?
Oh, Sunny D.
It got banned because it was turning kids orange.
That reminds me of the Chris Rock, the little skit where he does.
Yeah. Orange drink versus orange
I don't want
juice.
that orange shit. I want that purple stuff.
No, he's like, motherfucker, what is juice? It's like, I got orange drink. It's just to dilute it.
All right, you ready, Mike?
Yeah, man.
You had an intro, yeah?
Oh no, not that it was. No. I just said that I'd done one. Well, nearly finished one, but then Paul's on board, so I'll do it again.
We can maybe record a little bit after it. I can maybe put it.
Off the top of my head, I haven't got a clue. So let's just forget it, and I'll get it. But yeah, no, because I'll get him into the. It'll be in the actual, because it's all a bit funny talking about football teams, and I have a dig at everybody, even myself, so no one can get offended.
But I'm quite happy that Paul's here if we're talking about football.
Well, yeah, because now you've got to double up, haven't you?
Yeah, but although no one goes at me anyway. Can you go at me today? Like, I'm a bit jealous that. Like,
Well, you look all right, yeah.
We don't really go at Ed neither. Like Ed makes it seem
does,
like
he
we
does.
do. Yeah.
He goes at Tottenham and he makes Chelsea.
Victim.
Yeah.
He never makes any United
Exactly.
comments.
It's just that's true. Yeah.
But he makes false comments about Chelsea, doesn't he? About like crowd noise and stuff like that. Talking of, did you see that thing that I put in the group about the speakers at City?
Oh yeah.
Falls from me, but when it's Tottenham, it's like
No, but that's actual. There's actual proof there.
There's a link.
Oh yeah,
isn't it?
there's
Crowd
proof about Chelsea
Crowd
as well.
noise speakers.
There was an article.
That they were testing before the game, and the noise that was coming out of them was crowd whistling noises and clapping. And I thought it was odd because when I watched the game, I mean, in England we don't do the whole whistle thing when the opposition's got the ball, do we? That's like a Spanish fit, is it in Europe?
Yeah.
But every time we had the ball in the second
There was
leg,
whistles.
there was all these whistles going. I said to my dad, "What the fuck? Where are we playing
Yeah,
in
but
Spain?"
the Etihad is dire in terms of atmosphere.
But that's so they had all these speakers set up around it, and they were testing them before the game with like crowd noises and that. Oh, fucking hell.
I'm surprised.
Are you really?
No. I'm
That
surprised
ground's
it's coming over to England as a thing, because like you said, it is primarily.
No, but I don't. Yeah, I don't.
No. What I'm saying is
Is that they're trying to introduce
they're
it?
trying to introduce it. It's kind of. Do you know what I mean? I'm surprised by that. That if they were going to play something through their speakers, it shouldn't really be whistling, because who the fuck would, like you said?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Yeah, that's like the Spanish do that a lot, don't they? When the other team's got the ball, they whistle and clap and whatever else, trying to put you off.
Do we include this in this, yeah? Because only thing for an intro, I just wanted to, like, last time we didn't shout out the people who made our music, so I might like just shout them out.
Yeah, please do. And I like the way that you start it on the boom, and when the ending's coming in, I like the way that you just start it before we finish. So I like that.
Yeah, I could fade
He's
it
a
in.
good boy, old Ed.
He is. I know. I've been impressed.
He's saying something nice.
I was actually being nice. No, yeah, that's it. He wouldn't waste that. I knew he wouldn't throw that at me.
Is that a kill?
No, it's cucumber. It's cucumber and ginger.
Oh, I was about to say you brought fucking kale.
You want to try some?
I'll try some. Yeah. Here, there's a glass there. Just tip a little bit into that glass. Cucumber, it's really good for you, isn't it? In a drink wise, I mean.
But it's really strong. I had a cucumber one the other day. It had apple, cucumber, and ginger, and I could really taste the cucumber.
Like, this is from a Jamaican vegan shop in Bristol. Yeah, so like,
I mean,
there's loads of Jamaican vegan shops. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I suppose Rastafarians loved all that shit as well, don't they?
Yeah, man. Like in that place, it was only pretty much. Well, I say Jamaicans, but Caribbean people, like non-African black people, pretty much. You could tell.
It's true, but you can tell. You can tell if you're Caribbean, you can tell an African from a Caribbean. It's just
I know what you're saying. Yeah,
it's easy to spot. There's some people where it's really difficult though.
I kind of lost words. I don't even know what to say. Like, so what are we talking about again? Anyway.
well, we've gone for. I don't know.
No.
Well, we're recording, but
I mean, we can start. Yeah. So, go on, do the. You wanted a shout out to
Yeah, please shout him out.
right, yeah,
Chaz and Dave, who done the music.
yeah. Before we start, I'm gonna say thanks to Chaz and Dave. No. Didn't one of them like pass away?
Let's not bring it down already. That's a bit dark.
Let's not go there.
Should we start?
I'm already upset. Let's end the podcast now. I didn't even know one of them died. I'm upset.
So we're including this, right? All right, cool.
He's a proper cunt. He's got that horrible grin that he had when he was talking about Jade Goody dying from fucking cervical cancer.
No, we're not including
You're a
this.
horrible bastard. You
Let's
are,
take a
man.
minute to think about Chaz and Dave. Which one of them's dead? Because I am upset.
Chaz is dead.
He's my favourite.
Yeah. he is.
You brought it up anyway. You brought Chaz and Dave anyway, Mike.
Don't let my dad hear this because he'll fucking.
Oh,
hit the
we
room.
can't. Wait, we'll edit. Actually, all right. Now, I just want to say,
Yeah, considering you're being.
before all the Chaz and Dave chat, I just want to say, thanks to Pirate Blood Music for doing our intro and outro music.
Yeah,
really
appreciate your stuff.
Yeah, and if you're interested, then just go to like Instagram at Pirate Blood Music, Pirate Blood at Pirate Blood Music. Yeah, and so we got a guest here today as well. Got Paul here from the Beard and the Bowl podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Paul's part of our roster anyway, so you'll probably be hearing from him more anyway.
Hopefully, he'll be a pod regular.
You're gonna see me for a while.
I was gonna cut that out now. I can't. All right, cool. Yeah, so what we start then? Yeah.
So I've got a topic. All right. So let's get a bit serious for a second, because a friend of mine at work, shout out to Stelios, sent me a picture. Guys, do you know what the thing is? I wish I told you what I was going to talk about before because this is not funny. But let's try.
Sorry.
All right. So what it is, it's an image of Notre Dame burning with the statistic that 0 people had died and 700 million had been donated. Next to that image, there's another image of the Grenfell Tower burning with the statistic that 72 people had died with 18 million donated and only 2.4 million of that had gone to the victims. Now, those figures have likely changed, but it does give an indication, potentially, that there's a higher value placed on historical religious buildings over people's lives. So I guess my question is, do you feel that there's an issue with the donation so far to Notre Dame? And why do you think there's such a differential between the two donations?
Of course, that's a massive disparity there, especially if we're talking about lives, which should be first and foremost the most important thing when we're talking about giving monetary aid. And the fact that how much did you say? 700 million for?
I think it's actually gone up to $1 billion now.
But
and then that's like 2.5 million for the Grenfell victim.
Wasn't 300?
2.4, yeah.
Wasn't 300 million of that donated by 2 people?
Oh, maybe
There
that's the
there was a
case.
French
Maybe that's the
billionaire,
case.
and he gave 200 million or 100 million himself.
But even if we discount that, that's still a massive disparity.
No, but there was a big thing about them 2 in particular, and they got basically panned and said that they were trying to buy their way into heaven.
Oh, really? Okay. Like I
right.
saw something like apparently there could be a lot of what's the word? I want to say hoopla, but that's a stupid word. Anyway.
Hoopla's a good word.
Hoopla. All right, cool. Yeah, a lot of
I'm all for that.
hoopla about. Yeah.
What does hoopla mean?
Like I don't know, chaos.
Find that for us.
Like chaos, nonsense, yeah, whatever. Like apparently,
skullduggery.
yeah, skullduggery. That's
Tomfoolery.
That's a good word. That's a good word. It's a very British word as well. Tomfoolery. I feel like it anyway.
Skullduggery.
Oh, Mike's a Cockney, so that's why he comes up with.
Yeah, he's proper British, him, isn't he?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
That was Ed's impression of a British person. Yeah,
the one.
that's terrible.
He always does that same thing, doesn't he? Yeah.
Sound exactly like you. What you're talking about?
No, you don't.
Exactly like you, Mike the geezer. Yeah. Anyway,
Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins.
anyway, we're talking about a serious subject. Come on.
His accent was better than Ed's.
Oi.
Sorry.
Now you ask the hoopla, yeah, or the tomfoolery. Apparently, I saw loads of churches in France are in need of repair, and I saw there could be a lot of chaos or like hoopla because those churches have been in disrepair for a while. When as soon as this church burned down, $1 billion's been raised. When it's I think dozens of churches in France that need repair. So is this money going to be spent on that? Or are they going to try and distribute it amongst all the different churches that need it?
Let's be honest. I mean, they're probably half of that's going to go in restoration of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And the other half is going to go to
What was all
Catholicism as a whole.
What was all you reckon? What into the
Probably.
Pope's pocket?
Come on, mate. I'm not saying into his pockets
Is Notre
direct.
Dame a Catholic?
It's a Catholic cathedral, isn't it? So
Okay.
that's it's going to go back into the Catholic Church.
But you know, the funny thing is, they've been saying that the Pope's been really silent on the whole topic, and it's one of those weird things where people can't get their head around. And I think the point that you made about people putting their money in so they could get to heaven, or as you said, like that sort of legacy thing, I think that's a really good point, because a really, really rich person just giving 200 million. I mean, who's got 200 million just like that just to give anyway? But and you think about, well, what is it really doing? I know a cathedral's it's like a symbol of people's faith and people's it's a demonstration of that. But then you compare that to people dying. It's like, well, is that more important, or should it not matter?
I think the question's answered itself though. Exactly that. You said almost $1 billion, or roughly $1 billion, has been raised for Notre Dame, whereas what did you say it was for Grenfell?
2.4 million.
2.4 million to the victims of Grenfell, 18 million as a whole. Yeah. I think the question's answered itself. Yes, a religious or historical building holds more weight than life. If you're talking about raising £1 billion within, it was what, like 6 days or some shit?
Yeah.
And within the same time, all that madness is going on in Sri Lanka. You got all this fuckeries that's going on all over the world. Kids who are starving. You've got kids who are eating flies for dinner and shit. But a church burns down and everyone loses their fucking mind. I think it's disgusting. I think it's disgusting how much everybody's lost their mind because of fucking church. But who fucking cares? I'm serious. Who cares? Because a building of, and I'm gonna say this very, very tongue-in-cheek, a place of worship has fucking burnt. Who fucking cares? Really? What has Notre Dame ever done for you?
Maybe this is why the Pope is not responding.
That's probably why, because he's fucking...
What relevance does it have on the Catholic faith? What relevance does it have? It's a building. It's, it's a house to worship God. It's not the religion itself.
You can worship God from anywhere, from any church, from any point in the world. If you believe in God, you can worship God anywhere. A church burns down. It's sad if things were lost. It's sad that an historical landmark was lost. Fine, yes, but to go through the extent of, like you said, trying to raise money to get into heaven, which, let's be fair, is something that organised religion does in general. When you go into church, into a Catholic church, even into a Christian church, and they pass around that collection plate every single week, every single Sunday, and you go in there, you got to try and put your little 20p's or whatever in there, and then your parents try and put a little bit more in there because they think, oh no, they'll put a $5 in there because Jesus will like that. No, man, like it's not. It's all about raising money. Have you seen the Vatican? Have you actually?
Yeah, it's like a city, man.
The Vatican is. It's got to be.
It is a city. It's a city within a city.
It's the most stunning piece of religious architecture I've ever seen. It is absolutely. It's to the point of where I walked into Vatican City and I was like, wow, I believe in God. Like it was, and I'm sorry, and I'm not saying that I don't believe, but it got me to the point where I was like, no, I need to pick up a Bible, I need to do something, maybe I need to start figuring, and that's how it gets you.
Job done, basically. Yeah?
It did. I was very, very impressionable.
Do you think though, it's because? Do you think potentially we're thinking about it because it's a French building? And then Grenfell, do you think that plays any part?
Well, from the British perspective,
yeah,
you mean?
Don't we hate the French?
No, that's my point. So the outrage is that why? Say it was, instead of Notre Dame, it was St. Paul's Cathedral. Do you think we would still? Do you think you'll still feel the same way?
Well, I don't think they never. It wasn't that they went out for collections. These millions started pouring in just almost instantaneously. It's not that the Catholic Church went out and said, "Oh my God, we need help with," because hasn't the Vatican City itself, isn't there something close to like £10 billion worth of artwork that they've got in the vaults and things like that?
It's a cash-rich place. Yeah.
So realistically, if they really wanted to do it up, they could probably do it out of their own pocket.
They're saying, is it the Catholic Church that's raising money, or is it the French government? Because like Notre Dame.
No, it's French people that have done it. Not just French people, but it's people from all over the world, religious people.
But who are they donating it to? Is it to the French government, or is it to? Because like Notre Dame.
I'm not too sure.
I think they set up their own.
But it must be going to the church itself.
I quite like Edward's point there, because for me and the Catholic Church, and if we're looking at the French government, who is Notre Dame more important for? For me, it's the French government, because they will get money from tourism. Exactly. Catholicism can do without Notre Dame. I mean, it will survive without it. I mean, and they've got so many other cathedrals and stuff out there. I mean,
are we saying that Macron is?
I'm saying I think
going on a nice holiday.
Who was that? What was that, Mike? What's his name? Macron. Like, okay, you trying to sound less of a Cockney, Mike?
Macron.
Isn't that a little dessert, like a little pastry thing?
That's just a macaroon, isn't it?
It's potato.
Listen, he's French. I don't give a fuck how you say it. But at the end of the day, I don't. Yeah. So the Catholic Church itself has not come out and said you know, oh my God, Notre
Of
Dame's
course not,
burnt
it's
down with it.
irrelevant.
So it's just most of them are anonymous as well, aren't they? These, and they've just, whether they've set up their own site or whether it's going to the Notre Dame, the site itself, or like you say, I mean, if it's going to the government, that's a bit moody.
I'm pretty
Don't you
sure
think?
that Notre Dame isn't owned by the Vatican. I'm pretty sure of that.
It must be.
No, I'm pretty sure it's probably owned
a religious
by the,
place
by
of
the
that
French
size
government.
must be.
I reckon Shane's probably right. I reckon
I
it's
think it's
yeah.
owned by
I imagine
yeah.
so because I think Macron. I think who knows these days? Like
It's not as much of a muchness, mate.
is
whatever.
it? But yeah, but yeah, like then he made a pledge to like fix it in like 5 years as well. So
5
Yeah.
years. The amount of money they've got, they could do it in 5 weeks. No.
well, I don't know. It's pretty big, isn't it? Like I just saw just remember the images of the flames on the roof.
Where are they getting their contractors from? Are they bringing Romanian fucking builders? Like, I don't
Well,
understand.
Brexit. Everyone's free to go somewhere, isn't it? So
This is it.
yeah.
This is it. We're lending on.
5 years. What kind of fucking thing takes 5 years? It's not the
That's
fucking.
what
It's
I'm
not the
saying.
Qatar football stadium, is it? Gee, what,
Oh, but then you think about the Gaudi. How long's that been going? 100 and something years, and they still haven't.
Oh yeah,
That's
in
lazy work,
Barcelona.
isn't it?
that's I think that's different reasons, though, isn't it? But yeah,
Because they reckon that'll never ever be finished, don't they? Ever.
I think maybe his designs were too complex or something like that. I don't know.
Have you been there?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it is.
That is an
yeah.
impressive building.
What is?
The Gaudi in Barcelona.
I don't know what that is.
It's a cathedral. That's
They're
huge.
familiar.
Yeah,
the
like-
thing familiar.
Yeah.
La Sagrada
They
Familia.
got scaffolding all at the top of it. But
Yeah.
still looks really
But
beautiful. Yeah.
because they've been doing that for is it
100
100
years,
something
yeah,
years?
What are they
Yeah.
doing? Is it
They're
like
just-
they've
I
not
think
finished building it, or is
They're
it
building it,
restoration?
yeah.
They
No, they're
say they've
building
not
it.
even finished it.
So all the designs and all the artwork on the outside, and it was just so complex
Yeah.
that it's taken them
In fairness, that is a
century.
beautiful building.
Bloody hell.
and it's still not finished. I don't even think it's anywhere near finished, is it?
Well, they
Yeah, we
they
was.
need to
I
crack
went there,
on.
I was there October, I think I was there last, and it was. I mean, there's all scaffolding.
Yeah,
there,
it's still,
but,
yeah.
I mean, that's an impressive piece of architecture, definitely.
Now, see,
You know,
what would
it
happen if
pisses
that
all over
burnt down?
Notre Dame.
What would happen if that burnt down? See, is that that's Catholic? Yeah.
What La Sagrada
We
Familia?
will be in Spain, won't it?
I imagine so.
Pretty much, yeah. I think that's pretty much the dominant.
But imagine that burnt
denomination
down.
of-
Is that owned? Do you reckon that's owned by the Vatican?
I don't know. Do they own church?
I don't know. Yeah, I
think
didn't know churches.
They do own property outside of it.
No,
No,
there's-
maybe the property that they own outside is more of an investment type of thing rather than a religious type of thing. Because for me, I just
What, like
don't
stately
see...
homes and stuff?
Yeah, I think they've got their own fund.
They would. They
It's
would
like
do. They would
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
They would have their own. They would have their own portfolio.
Yeah,
Essentially,
a
but
fund,
not
yeah.
of necessarily religious buildings, but they would have their own portfolio.
But they need somewhere to send all their priests when they're on rehab, don't they?
Oh god, yeah.
But then who does? You say it's the government, so it's not going to be like Foxtons or anything, is it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Notre Dame would be owned by the French government rather than.
Yeah,
the
you might be
Vatican.
right,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure that would be the case.
I mean, the fact that we're talking about all these rich people donating so much money, I mean, who are we to tell them where they should put their money as well? I
No,
mean, is
they
there
can do
an-
what they
you know
want.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose it gives that reflection of, well, what do people think is important? You know, like I think it's Louis Vuitton that's given the biggest, the most amount. I think
Okay,
it's
didn't
200
know
million,
that. Actually.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, you think you just got 200 million just to give like that to.
Yeah, but I think that's the point, isn't it? It's like, oh, you know, this big symbol of religion, like Notre Dame. Oh, yeah, we must be seen to be helping, and you know, let's really be outlandish and give 200 million.
Like virtue signaling, kind of. As they say.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure in the Bible, like, correct me if I'm wrong, like, I did go to Sunday school very briefly as a young boy,
Uh-oh.
but I'm pretty sure there was like a famous sort of fable story where this guy comes in, he's mega rich, and basically he's meant to be giving donations to God, basically, and he comes in and he gives X amount, which is a huge amount. But then the poor woman who comes in, who's got hardly anything, gives her last coin, and that means more to God than if you come in and give a quarter of your massive wealth, because this woman's come in and give everything she's got. So
Isn't that just the Bible's way of saying, even if you're poor, give us something?
Yeah, just give us money.
Yeah, give us
That's the
anything.
main point.
That's the
Just give
main
us money.
point. Is that,
Yeah,
if
I'll
you
go
have
with that.
nothing, give us something.
But
If
if these people,
if you've got one coin, we'll have
if
that.
these people are proper Christians, they'll look to that and think, well, you're 200 million. If you've got X amount of billions, doesn't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think that's just an old saying from over everything, isn't it? I think there's
It's
another
a
one
Christian
similar to
fable,
that,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like It's about a man and a woman, like a woman who is interested in two men, and one man.
This is
one
like
man-
Dear
it's
Penthouse
one of those
Forum.
movies, yeah. Channel 5 at
It's
11
the
o'clock.
same thing.
Channel 5, Red Shoe Diaries, wasn't it? I don't usually write letters like this.
Was there jazz music in the background?
Red Shoe Diaries. I remember them.
That's
Anyway,
not quite the Bible, I think.
It's Mike's Bible, isn't it? Though?
that's,
Sticky
that's
pages.
another story for another time. No, I was agreeing with you. That's right. Let's move on.
No.
But it's just that it's the same.
It's the truth.
It's the same thing. It's the same. It's what I was saying is that there's a girl who's interested in two guys. One guy gives her a tenner.
A tenner. Yeah.
And
Do
then,
what?
and one guy gives her a tenner, and the other, but all he had was a tenner, but she didn't know that. He gave her his last tenner, but the other guy gave her 15 quid, but he had 40 in his pocket, and she goes with the guy. But it's the same
It's
thing,
the same
isn't it?
principle.
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know. Which one did she go with?
Which one's
The
Jesus?
guy
in
who
this
gave her £15. That one. So the one who gave her £15 is in this story Jesus.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Is it what?
For Nav asked which one was Jesus.
Why would Jesus have £15? Didn't he live in fucking Israel somewhere?
I don't know.
What's the current?
You don't know, like really.
Moral of the story is Jesus pulled. I think
Was this that same weekend when he supposedly died, but he went on a big bender?
big up Jesus, yeah. Yeah, so Grenfell though. I mean, bringing it back. What?
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. That's smooth. That's smooth, Nav.
I want to bring it back though because oh man, forget it then. Let's just talk about Brexit again. Fuck it.
No, like, what do you want to say about Grenfell?
It just upsets me. That's all. 2.4 million. I think there's still hundreds of them that still haven't been rehoused. It's just I suppose it's a reflection of. If we're talking about Macron and how much he's been at the forefront of this whole Notre Dame thing. If you look at Theresa May and Grenfell, I don't think she even met the victims, and like there was all these false promises and nothing was
I
done.
think she did eventually, but at first there was a whole big song and dance about it, wasn't it? She hadn't gone. Everyone was like, "Where the fuck's Theresa May?"
Was she on the campaign trail when she met them?
I think so. Yeah.
So it could be a reflection of our politics and not politics, our leadership. Yes, Notre Dame, no one died. No, people donate what they want, but you could see how important it is to France and what it represents and their culture and their history. On the flip side, you got a burning tower in here, and then no one really cares. Yes, Grenfell wasn't a famous building, but the fact that people died, it should raise that importance. And it's like, I don't know.
I think the main problem or the main point is you are, like you said, the original question was, are we putting a historical landmark over human life? And I think the answer is yes. Yes,
I
the
think
world
so. I
is
think we have to
definitely doing
conclude.
that, because take away Grenfell, it is a hard. Take that away, you can put any other fucking disaster that's happened within the last year or the last decade, and there's never been that kind of gathering, as far as I'm aware, that kind of gathering or that kind of influx of money to come at such a quick time. When there are people dying all over the world all the time. All it shows is that the richest people in the world could solve so many of the world's problems if they just band together. But it's alright because fucking Louis Vuitton's giving 200 million to a fucking church. Awesome.
It's owned by the French state.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is that statistic, isn't there? That I know I'm going to butcher this, but the top 0.1% wealthiest people in the world have 99% of the world's wealth. Is that? I think that's roughly.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think there's something recently about Britain. I think the top 1% own like 50% of like I think the wealth or the land. I maybe need to check that stat as well. But they own 50% of the wealth in Britain, essentially. That came out this week. So.
That doesn't surprise me. Yeah. Doesn't surprise me when you go into the city and you sort of start to realise how many buildings and how many places that are owned by the wealthiest, and it's stuff that's not even being used. Like you go to the top of the Shard, for example, they've got all these luxurious apartments and shit like that are completely empty, but were bought before that place was even built by all those people from somewhere else who've got more money than Jesus. Well, not at the moment, because Jesus has got about $1 billion at the moment, isn't he? So he's doing all right.
But Jesus got the girl though, so it's
Jesus did get the girl, and he saved 30 quid. So do you know what I mean?
Wasn't there a lot
did
of
get the girl.
There was a lot of Russian billionaires, hadn't they? Done a lot of buying up. There was because when I was just before I left the army, we was riding around when we was out doing whatever we were doing, riding around Knightsbridge, and the guy who I was out with, his mum, his family name owns 2 houses around Knightsbridge, Mayfair, that sort of area. And when Abramovich bought Chelsea, he sent his people round. I don't want to make it sound like some gangster story because it isn't, but he sent his representatives round, and they offered her 4 times the market price for her house in Knightsbridge.
Wow.
And she turned them down. She said no. So whatever it's worth, 4 times that, because he wanted that specific house in that particular area.
That stuff happens a lot in London.
Yeah. But hey, that's Abramovich for you. Ruined football.
He did. He ruined the Premier League.
Oh yeah. Should we just talk about football then?
Well, let's talk about how much Chelsea suck. Yeah?
Well, that's
let's talk
Didn't
about
ask
that.
you.
Yeah. Let's talk about how much Chelsea suck.
Thing is, I want to be a bit careful because Chelsea are playing soon, right? So it's like I can't.
They're playing now.
Is it kickoff?
They are playing now, yeah. Kicked off
Alright.
at 8 o'clock.
A bit nervous, but you know.
Who they play?
Oh, no, it's not. Sorry, they're not playing now. It's 7:30. They're playing at 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, cutting that out. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. But United lost recently, didn't they? They lost a few times, yeah. Like
Paul, this is what we brought you on for.
To
take the bullets.
I said to you earlier, I said, I'm done, man. Like, it's one of them ones, I got a friend of mine, he was an avid Arsenal fan, loves Arsenal to bits.
sounds like a good guy. Yeah.
No, shut up, Ed. He lives and dies for that badge, but the moment they sacked Wenger, he was like, I'm done. He said, I will always follow Arsenal and I will always love Arsenal, but the way they treated us and was fucking completely out of line. And I'm done with that club. And I'm starting to really feel with United, and it's not a case of losing because teams lose, and although United didn't lose for the majority of 30 fucking years almost, they were winning everything all the time. I don't mind the fact that we're losing. It's the performances. The game against Everton.
That was ridiculous.
Was pish. It was so bad, and I thought the 2 games were against Barcelona were bad. But at Everton, that was fucking poor.
I think
poor, and even West Ham, man. I mean, we
that was poor. We didn't deserve to win that.
No, winning that game, there was no reason why we should at all, and it was fucking terrible. It was so bad, and I'm starting to look at the club as a whole. There's something fundamentally wrong at that club.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, what do you think that is then?
Solskjaer.
I was going to
No. They've jumped the gun with Solskjaer.
No, I agree.
And I said this. You remember that, don't you? I said this when the shine wears off and the honeymoon period's over. He is not the man you need.
I think the problem runs deeper than that. I think we've got massive problems at United. One is the board. Hugely, the board play a massive role in it. There's no director of football, and we've got Ed Woodward sanctioning transfers.
I thought he was a director of football.
No, Ed Woodward is a banker. What does he know about football? How can you have a man as your technical? How can you have this man who is like the vice president of United, because we have the American system, because obviously we're owned by Americans. He's the vice president of the club. He knows nothing about football, but he's telling first and foremost Mourinho which players he can and can't sign. Secondly, the board structure is absolutely dire. I think we do need a technical director, but I also think the players, as Paul said, I think our players are. I just don't think they're good enough, to be honest. I don't think they're good enough. I think individually they've got talent, but I just don't feel that. I feel United is in an absolute mess, and something massively has to change.
You've got players there who. They're United bred. So I mean, like Marcus Rashford, for example, even though Jesse Lingard, in my opinion, he's not a world class player. He's a squad player. He's okay. Is he a player that should be starting every game at United?
No. He's a squad player at best.
But players like him and Rashford, they're United through and through.
They're important.
You can see that they're part of the history of the club is as important to them as it was to the players of old. Now you've got Paul Pogba, who's from that same class. He's not that but he doesn't have that same mentality. Yeah, he came back most likely for the money, or maybe he wanted to win a trophy and whatnot. But he won't be there. I guarantee you, he'll go before United win that league.
Yeah. I reckon Pogba's staying another 2 years max.
I reckon he'll win the league when he leaves.
I do, because I'm starting to think that maybe there's issues, and I'm a big fan of Paul Pogba. I think he's a fantastic player.
I think he's a great midfielder.
When he's on his day, he's fucking unplayable. You've seen him, but.
When was that day?
Huh?
When was that day?
The World Cup.
Probably when we beat you in the fucking in the FA Cup.
Twas a Tuesday.
You're asking for that one.
It was a cold winter's morning.
No, but Ian Holloway said it best on TalkSport the other morning. I was listening to it. What Manchester United need is they need the cake mix, and Pogba is the icing.
Yeah.
He's not the cake mix.
There's no underbelly.
He's not the
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
But, what you're saying about Lingard, I mean, Lingard to me is a bit like a Nicky Butt. He's not... He's United through and through. He's not amazing.
No, he's a squad player.
He's good. He's good at what he does. I'd have Lingard in my team.
I like Lingard.
Yeah, he's a squad
I'm not saying I
player.
don't like Lingard. I like him. I'm actually saying I'm a fan of his. I especially like the fact that when you see him playing for England or when you see him playing for United, if somebody takes out Rashford,
He's there.
the first person to get, and he's only a
there.
little thing, and the first person to get in their face is Lingard.
Yeah,
and
he's
I
there.
like that.
He's
And he
there.
moonwalked the Emirates, didn't he?
does,
That was,
He did,
that
didn't
was
he?
that was
pretty
when,
cool.
when we knocked you out the FA Cup.
That was
wasn't it?
pretty cool.
That game.
'Twas a Tuesday.
I tip my hat to him as well because you know how hard it is to moonwalk on a football pitch with football boots.
All right.
And
Yeah.
he made it look pretty damn easy as well.
Yeah, Lingard is great, isn't he? Yeah, what a great guy. Yeah, nice. Yeah, good for him. Good for bloody Jesse. And
There is a fundamental problem though. I mean, we touched upon it last time we were speaking, like the contract situation, allowing contracts to run down and then giving contracts to the English players who are fucking shit. Phil Jones, Smalling, Ashley Young. How the fuck are these guys getting contracts? I think.
No, but let's be honest though. This was in the midst of your 12-game unbeaten run.
Yeah, but they were still dire.
No, I know, but everything was rosy then. When everything was rosy, Solskjaer the saviour. And all. I'm not saying Solskjaer's a bad manager. I'm not saying that at all. But there's a fundamental upward step from the Norwegian first, second tier.
yeah, like
First tier,
Yeah,
Mould,
into the Premier League where you're playing Barcelona.
just the pressure, really.
Yeah, and
The pressure is the main thing because it's relative. Yeah.
I don't feel like I said this as well weeks and weeks and weeks ago. When the honeymoon period finishes, and it will, is that I think the pressure will get to him. I don't think he'll be able to
I
deal
think
with
the
the pressure
honeymoon
very
period
well.
is pretty much done now.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
What
you
have we
look
lost,
at that.
like 6 and 8.
Because the pressure starts building in, so you lose 1, 2, 3, 4, and that against Everton, that was just the pressure was too much.
I just saw nothing from the players. Like even if you look at the running stats, there was nothing there. They gave nothing.
They said that Everton covered like 4 times as much ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
That is ridiculous.
Wow.
For a team that's chasing a top 4 spot, knowing that 3 points there could almost will put them back in the top 4.
Yeah.
Especially with Spurs losing as well. That was our chance to jump straight back in and to almost to be within that. And now we're fucking. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
No,
if we finished
I
seventh
don't.
at this point.
I mean, to be fair, Tottenham and Manchester United got out of jail this weekend because Arsenal didn't capitalise. And then obviously depending on what happens, but saying that, Chelsea would have played a game more
Yeah.
after
And we
tonight.
still got to go away to United.
Yeah. But I think I nailed my colours to the mast ages and ages ago, and I'll stick with it right now. And what I said is that it will be City, Liverpool, Tottenham, United, Chelsea, Arsenal. That's how I think.
Do you really think United are going to come back into this?
I think Arsenal are going to nick the 4th.
I don't see it, to be
That's
honest.
how I think it's going to go.
I don't see it.
But,
I don't see it.
and the only reason
I
I'm
see Chelsea 3rd, Spurs 4th.
I see.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
is
I see
because I
Chelsea.
said
Chelsea
it.
third.
I don't see Chelsea. And the thing is, if you look at the fixture list, I think Arsenal's got the
Yeah,
best run of
but we
fixtures.
got loads of away games against like say the second
Arsenal
tier.
travel well.
Yeah, the second tier, like the Premier League really has like separated into like there's top 6, which is the top 6. But then you have those teams say like West Ham, Leicester, Wolves, Watford, Everton as well. They're really like they're solid teams. I suppose we saw what they did. They beat us as well. Saw what they did to United as well.
And the thing is, you've got 3 solid teams away from home.
Yeah.
Like Leicester,
You've got
Wolves,
as
and
well, haven't
Burnley.
you? Yeah.
Leicester, Wolves, and Burnley.
Yeah.
They're tough games.
And we
they
got
are tough.
Thankfully,
tough
we
games.
got Brighton at home as well.
Yeah,
But
Brighton at home. But I mean,
Oh, poor Chris.
and on the flip side to that, you've got Tottenham, who's 3 of their last 4 games are at home, and we've got West Ham,
You're undefeated at home, aren't you?
Brighton, like 3 games, but yeah. Hey, one of them was Man City. I mean, come on now.
That's what I'm saying. You're undefeated at home.
Clean
aren't you?
sheet. We haven't conceded a goal yet.
Have you not?
Nope.
Oh,
not
someone
there.
needs to ruin that shit.
Was it last season United came second?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the only thing I bring that up is because do you just think that maybe the top teams have just gone so much further? It's not that United have dropped so bad.
I think investment. I think it's a combination of these issues.
Do you think it's
Investment.
bad investment?
I think investment hasn't been what it should have been last summer.
Well, Sanchez is a bad investment.
Sanchez was a horrendously
Thank you for that, by the
bad-
way.
and
Yeah.
apparently, I saw in the paper.
Yeah, you've done really well without him, haven't you?
Hey, we're ahead of you, so yeah.
I've seen in the paper that Ed is admitted privately that Sanchez was a mistake.
Have you, Ed?
It's always the Eds.
Yeah.
Fucking Eds, man. Jesus
I never
Christ.
wanted him.
I never wanted him.
I never wanted him. I always thought how his last season before he left Arsenal.
Yeah, he was spent.
You could just see that he's just not fucking.
He was injured for a lot of it.
He's
as
a
well.
fucking mercenary. He doesn't give a fuck about who he plays for. He does not care about that badge, just like he didn't care about your badge.
No, he has his
plays for
piano
money.
and he has his dogs, and that's all he needs.
Yeah, that piano intro. Yeah.
I actually thought that was pretty cool though.
It was a pipe dream though, but it was just a pipe dream. When it's Sanchez, yeah, he's going to come and he'll transform.
It's like what Chelsea used to do when they see a club, a rival's going for a player. You did that to Man City because obviously he would have won a league if he went to Man City.
Because the problem, if he went to Man City, he'd probably be phenomenal, and that's the sad thing.
No, do you think he would have got in the team?
I think
maybe he wouldn't get in the team. I don't know.
No, man.
I think no, because he's to dislodge Sterling now. No, I don't.
No, but that's what I mean.
I don't think he breaks Sterling. I don't think he gets Sterling out.
And
now.
who was there?
I don't think he gets
Sane
in. I
doing
don't
it
think he
last
gets in
season.
over any of them.
He doesn't trust Sane though, does he? I don't think.
I don't know why, because I think Sane's
I'd have
decent.
Sane
Yeah,
all day long.
Sane's decent.
Yeah, so would I.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
really decent.
But he's an arrogant bald cunt. That's what he is.
Who?
Guardiola.
Yeah,
He's a fucking arrogant bald cunt, and it just proves it with that first leg of the Champions League. Why would you leave De Bruyne and Sane on the bench until the 89th minute?
Because it's Tottenham.
Why would you do that? Because it's Tottenham.
Because it's Tottenham.
That's exactly why. Because he thought they were going to walk it.
Because lads, it's Tottenham. Yeah.
Yeah, well, lads. Yeah, but hey, that's changing round now, isn't it?
Back then, that was bloody warranted.
Yeah,
Oh, lads,
okay,
it's
but that's not.
Tottenham. Yeah.
It's not like we've never beaten them since he's been their manager. Do you know what I mean? We've thrashed them. We beat them 4-1 the season he took over. So it's not like, all right, he spent close to £1 billion since then. But
Do you think it's him being arrogant, or do you think he was potentially overthinking it?
no, he's an arrogant cunt.
Yeah.
I think Pep
White just doesn't like Pep.
I think he is.
I tell you
Yeah,
what.
I think he's a fraud.
No,
He's a fraud.
What I didn't like what he did
How's
at
he a
Bayern Munich.
fraud?
I think he took it. I
he's a
think he took
fraud.
Bayern Munich backwards. You know, if you look at that Bayern Munich team that won the Champions League with that Ribery, that was an amazing Ribery-Robin system, and then he comes in and just passes them to death, and then they win the league, but they always win the league.
Who couldn't win the league with Bayern Munich? I mean, he never got them to a semi. He took over the European champions in Bayern Munich, and he never got them to a semi-final in 3 years. Never got them anywhere close to a semi-final.
Yeah, but
He's done the same with City.
How many European Cups did he get with Barca?
Two, yeah.
Okay. Right, so I
But
don't
again,
think by that
even
standard,
Ibrahimovic said it. That Barcelona team didn't need a manager. They could have just gone out and played.
I'm not necessarily.
now.
So you're saying that he's a fraud, but by that standard, would you say Zidane's a fraud as well? Then
It's a tricky.
No, I don't think so because
Because you
that
can't do
team
it 3 times.
When Zidane took over at
Well,
Real
did he do it
Madrid, they
4
weren't on top, were they?
three
no,
times.
but they didn't win the
Three
league, did they? They won the Champions League three times.
He's
in a
won
row.
the
he won the
league
league with
with
them.
them.
Yeah,
Won the league with
them.
Yeah.
When he took them over, they weren't in a good shape.
He
Yeah.
domestically he won everything he could with
Yeah.
them, and then obviously the three
But
Champions
Barca
League.
weren't in a good state as well. Didn't Pep take over Frank Rijkaard? I think it was on the downward. They were on a downward spiral.
Well, not
No, that was the
really.
Ronaldinho.
He
Deco.
brought in a lot of his players from the youth system.
All he done was he promoted a lot of them from the youth, but
Which
they
he was already coaching.
You know, they already have Xavi, Iniesta, and all that. I mean, Messi was in the team, but he made him obviously more prominent. But then he brought in the likes of Pedro and Busquets and the kids that he'd been training
Did
anyway.
he bring back PK as well? Did he bring back? Or was PK already
yeah,
back?
He was around that time.
From us, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously Fabregas.
Yeah, but yeah.
Sorry, Ed. Out. But yeah,
Too soon, man.
Too soon.
But what I'm saying is, if
10 years ago.
He's still hurting.
he went from arguably probably the best footballing side that any of us have ever seen in a generation in that Barcelona team, and he went from them, and like I said to you, any one of us could have gone out there and managed that team.
It was
and
that
won
good.
what he won.
It was that
I
good.
don't know because I think like I was saying I think he took
Wenger
over.
couldn't.
He took over Frank Rijkaard. Huh? Fuck you.
The basis was still there. I mean, who did he add to
No,
it?
but I think
kids.
the structure that you're talking about that anyone can manage, he put in place, and the structure of the team, the background structure, and also the way the team played. I think he put that in place.
No. If you're talking about that, then it was actually Cruyff who introduced all that. to that
But
club.
then he brought it back in. He made it.
Well, yeah, but they learn all that in La Masia anyway, don't they?
But
from when they're kids.
But like to the extent that they played it under him compared to Frank Rijkaard as well.
I suppose, yeah, but for Rijkaard had different players, didn't he? He had Henry and Ronaldinho and all those sorts of players. They weren't doing that.
I don't think did he have Henry? Yeah, no, he did. Yeah, because Pep played with him as well.
Yeah, only briefly though, didn't he? But again, he spent a fortune. You know, how much did he spend? Was it 40?
On Zlatan.
Swap deal. Yeah, Ibrahimovic. What was that, like 50 million plus Eto'o?
Yeah.
Yaya Toure.
Yeah, he killed it with.
He spent an absolute fortune there. Then he took over the European champions who had just won the treble. Spent an absolute fortune there as well, but won fuck all. apart from the league, obviously. But like in Europe, but again, I mean, anyone realistically could take over that Bayern Munich team and walk that league. Realistically,
You look at there's teams like Bayern Munich, teams like Juventus, teams like Barcelona, where winning the league, it's not even a big deal anymore.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, that's
Do
it.
Every
that's
fucking
almost
year.
that's like a given, isn't it? You take over those teams. If you don't win the league, you're a massive failure.
And I think the target is always Champions League.
Exactly that.
Champions
Your target
League
is
is
always
the
it's
yeah.
Champions League. If you don't win a Champions League, then it's not been a successful
Yeah.
season, and that's how those teams look at it every year because they know the league is practically wraps up. Juve have wrapped it up already.
Yeah,
haven't they?
yeah.
By some.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous. Haven't they like won it 7 or
Yeah.
8 times now in a row?
PSG,
What is the
PSG
point?
And that's what
won it
annoyed me
last
about
night as well.
Ronaldo. Ronaldo came to Juventus, so I'm going to change it from Pep quickly. He'd gone to Juventus and turned around and said, "Yeah, I'm going here for the challenge and what."
There's no challenge there.
No, that's what Zlatan
Yeah.
said. Zlatan said, a challenge would be taking a fucking a Serie B team and going and win the league with it. What you've done is you've walked into a team that wins.
That's
the
won
league
it 7
year in, year
times on
out.
the bounce.
There's
That's
no challenge there.
ridiculous.
No, but to be fair,
What are you bringing to that squad?
Yeah.
I think it's Champions League though, Paul. Like that was his target.
He wanted to win the Champions
wanted to
League.
win the
but-
Champions League
But
with
really
Juventus.
fucking well, didn't
Well,
he?
yeah.
Well,
No,
he's
exactly,
won it.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
won it with United and Real Madrid. So if he does it one more time, that must be surely
That'd be
he must be the most decorated player.
That'll be
No,
his
it's
sixth.
Danny Alves, isn't it?
Who's he won it
At
with?
the moment.
Danny's only won it with Barca.
Yeah,
isn't
he's
he?
only won it
No,
four
it's the most decorated
No,
player.
I mean like in
Oh,
terms of
it's Danny
Champions
Alves
League,
at the
he would be
moment.
the
It's in
most
Champions
decorated.
League to win the Champions League with 3 clubs from
Yeah,
3
Ronaldo
different
would be the
countries.
most
Because he
decorated.
won it. Was it once with United?
Once with
Yeah, 4
United
with
and
Real-
4
4
with
times
Real
with Real
Madrid.
Madrid.
Yeah, yeah.
Seedorf won it with 3 different clubs, didn't he?
Oh, did he?
Really?
Yeah, Clarence.
Oh, right, okay.
Ajax,
Ajax
AC
won it,
Milan,
AC Milan.
Inter.
and
Inter.
And
yeah.
Inter, yeah.
Yeah, but not 4 clubs, not the Inter and Milan. Sorry, Inter
Seedorf
and
at
AC.
Inter Milan.
Yeah, I'm sure
he
Seydorf did he play?
That was Mourinho's.
He was there in Mourinho, wasn't
I'm
he?
sure he played there. I'm sure Seydorf played for Inter as well. I'm pretty sure he did.
We got to check
Let's
that.
have a look.
Yeah, check
I'll
it.
check
yeah.
it.
But I think he's like the only player who's won it with 3 different.
Because he wasn't. Because
Wouldn't
he
it be
wasn't there
two-
when Mourinho was there.
Wouldn't it be 2 teams from the same league though? If it was Inter and if it was AC, then it's 2 Italian teams. So technically, it wouldn't be the same as winning it with 3 clubs from 3 different
Countries.
Oh yeah, so I mean, I was just thinking 3 different clubs, but yeah, with Ronaldo, he would then do it with 3 different leagues.
Yeah,
as
he
well.
did.
Yeah,
Technically, because David Beckham has 3
He went to-
medals.
he
from
was
3
at
different
Inter before he
countries,
went to
isn't he?
Milan.
but one of them's US though, isn't it? Is that what you're thinking?
Well,
of?
Yeah, but
4, so
in-
Oh,
so,
you
like,
only
'cause he's
think
got he's got multiple with United. He's got 1 with Real Madrid. He's got 1 with PSG and 1 with.
He never won the Champions League.
Does he have one? How long was he? Wasn't he just at
He was
PSG?
on loan at PSG,
But when they,
he got a medal for.
oh, that's bollocks, really.
Why is that bollocks? That's like when Michael Owen played about 4 games for United and got a trophy, got a medal. That's when Anderson was playing for United, playing fucking not even Anderson. Was
No, he
it?
didn't.
it
You're
was.
right. He won it for. He did play for Inter, but he won it with Madrid, Ajax, and Milan.
Oh, so he has done it. Then.
Yeah, he has done it. with
Yeah,
3
that is
clubs.
3 different countries.
Yeah.
There you go.
When you saying he didn't play for Inter, Mike?
He did play for Inter.
No, I said he didn't win the Champions League with Inter.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure whether he played for him, but he definitely didn't win the Champions
He
League with
wasn't
them.
part of that Mourinho team. That won.
No, he was
no.
playing 99 to 2002. He played for Inter.
Would you think that Mourinho's like honours are better than Guardiola's then because of the different? Like Mourinho's won the Champions League with 2 different clubs.
The only
Go on.
the
Here
only,
we go. Here we go.
The only oh sorry.
Oh, Shane.
sorry.
We got a guest
The
here
only
today.
one,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna split it out. The
Go on,
only
Shane.
one I'll give him is
Fuck
Porto. Porto is the only one I'll give him. That's it.
I agree. I agree with what you're saying.
Sorry, that might have killed your flow, but yeah, I agree too.
Completely. Ask the question again.
Alright, so do you think
We'll edit this
Mourinho's
out.
honours are better than Guardiola's honours because he's won it with different clubs?
Yes.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
No, for the exact reason that Shane just said, because fucking Porto.
Yeah.
Mourinho, you said the other day, didn't you? Fucking Mourinho is a dinosaur now. His tactics are very outdated in comparison to what football is currently. But you can't take away from a man who won the Champions League with Porto and.
Well, they actually won back-to-back European trophies because they won the UEFA Cup
it.
and they then the Champions
He
League.
did
the season
fantastically
after.
well with
So,
Porto.
yeah.
Anything
Yeah,
after
yeah.
that.
And you always remember him fucking when he beat United and he's fucking sliding down the title. Little cunt, I hate
That
him.
was hilarious.
I hate him. Even when he was at United, I hated him.
It did win a lot with Chelsea, but it's just tainted by the fact that it was bought, wasn't it? Essentially.
You see,
Well, yeah, no, but it was.
if this was a camera right now, you'd see Ed smiling his ass. He was waiting for something like that.
He absolutely waited
He's
for the
waiting
drop
for
in
that, yeah, yeah,
conversation
I
as
know.
well, just so he
I
got
could-
so close to his mic.
He's so pleased with himself.
Edging closer and closer.
But can I just sum up the Guardiola thing? Yeah, he's basically a bald fraud. That's what he is. For the reasons that I just said. Then he took over a team that is got an open checkbook and one of the probably the at the time he took over, it was probably the best squad in the Premier League. Man City, yeah. And all right there, and so then, but the players that he had weren't to his liking. Your Bakary Sanyas and your Gael Clichy's and whatever else. They couldn't play his brand of football. So the cunt goes and spends 150 million on 3 fullbacks.
4.
I think it was 200 million as well,
I'm
wasn't
sure
it?
he bought 4, didn't he?
Kyle Walker, Danilo, and Benjamin Mendy. 3 fullbacks, 150
I
million.
thought he bought 4.
You know, and not to talk about the others, the Gundowans and all the other players, the De Bruynes.
What was it that Kyle Walker said when Spurs beat when Spurs went knocked them out of the Champions League? It's like, I just wanted to show Tottenham what they did when they got. I wanted to show them, to basically show them up for what they did to me. Basically saying it was Spurs. You know, Spurs got rid of me.
He's a lying
I wanted
cunt.
to show them what they were missing, and it's like, didn't you force through your transfer?
He did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Spurs didn't get rid of him.
I've read Pochettino's book, and it was a week before the FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea, and he went in and knocked on Pochettino's door and said he wanted to leave, and Poch turned around to him and said, you know, we're just about to play an FA Cup semi-final, and we're going well in the league. Why are you telling me this now? Why couldn't you wait till the end of the season? Oh, I just wanted to be honest with you. I just wanted to let you know, and that's why he did not play another game. He didn't play the Arsenal game. He didn't play the FA Cup semi-final.
So what's happening with Rose? Why has he not left yet? Hasn't he done this?
He's always unhappy.
No, Rose. I take my hat off to Rose.
He's always upset.
He is always upset. I think he's got depression though.
I feel bad for him, you know.
I think he is depressed. He's like clinically depressed.
He did say something like.
Oh, is he actually depressed? Oh shit. Oh, I didn't really.
Clinically depressed.
Oh, my bad. I didn't know it.
I take my hat off to Rose because when he came out, there's ways to do it, and going and having an interview done with the Sun is not the way to do it. But for him saying basically our wage structure is a bag of bollocks. I mean, I don't think there's a Tottenham fan on the planet that would disagree with what he's saying, but there's ways that you go about saying it, and the Sun thing is not such a great idea.
What do you reckon, the Mirror?
The Star?
No, the Daily Mail.
He could have got his tits out at the same time. But anyway, what he says is true, and it's right, and everyone agrees with him. But and there was a bit of animosity between him and Pochettino over all that. But I think now he's played himself back into the, and he's actually playing well at the moment.
What happened to that Walker Peters guy? So remember first season, like Carl Walker left, and you played Carl Walker Peters. Everyone's like, "What the fuck?"
That was quite funny. Yeah. I was confused. I was like.
Carl Walker.
Is that like when fucking Kevin Nash and Razor Ramon went over to WCW?
Fake.
And Vince McMahon brought in fake Diesel. It's like, yeah, it's him, it's fine, it's all right. Yeah, cool.
But he's actually a good player. He's a young fullback. He's quite similar to Walker actually. He like pace and stuff like that.
He's got a little bit extra, yeah.
He's got the Peter.
He's got the Peter.
He's even better.
He's got a double barrel, isn't he?
But yeah, I think Guardiola's a fraud, and I think he's being shown up to be a fraud because
by winning the league.
Well,
last year and probably this year.
Well, I mean, if you spent that amount of money, you should be entitled to win the league. Wrong?
It's like the domestic treble.
I mean,
so.
no
one's done that, have they?
No one's done it yet.
No, but who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
about
the domestic treble was done by Liverpool.
No, they won the UEFA Cup.
No, they didn't. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They won the League Cup, the FA Cup, and the UEFA Cup.
Yeah.
The fake treble is what you got. Yeah.
Treble. No, the fake treble. No, the real treble was that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, but that's why Man United fans say they done the fake treble.
Yeah, because it was the fake treble.
Well, it was because you won the League, FA Cup, and Champions League.
Yeah. Not that fucking bollocks. There's no Liverpool fans, really. It's cool.
And it's no coincidence that the team now, I mean, they've only taken over Man United by a whisker in there at the moment with spending wise, is Liverpool, and they're the ones closest to them. You know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, they've got further than them in the Champions League. But I mean, they played Porto. I mean, you know what I mean?
When we talk about money, though, Man United spent quite a bit last season, didn't they? I think they spent, if not the same as City.
Close to that.
So do you think then
I think
Guardiola has that sort of edge that he knows who to buy at least, whereas United don't?
I don't
I
know,
think we
but
spent
United,
£10 million more than they did last
but
year.
United finished the season last year where they should have for what they spent. So City obviously ran away with it because they spent what they spent. United spent the second most and finished. But obviously the anomaly in there was Spurs, who finished third, but they didn't spend, well, fuck all, did they? They didn't, nothing. But that's what. So this season, City again have spent whatever they've spent, and then Liverpool were just.
They just bought Mahrez in the summer, didn't they? City.
Didn't they buy him in Jan?
No, they bought him in. No, they bought him in the summer.
Is that the only player
I
they
think
bought?
so. I'm pretty sure.
When did they buy Bernardo Silva?
I think he's been there before. I think he's this isn't his first season.
Oh,
I thought it was his first season.
I thought it
Bernardo
was.
Silva, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe not. Oh, I don't know. But I think over the course of
No,
time,
it's true. They spent a lot of money.
and Liverpool are now catching them up because, what was it, 75 million on Alisson.
Oh, yeah, Van Dijk as
Also
well.
Van Dijk, 75 million.
Money well
Keita
spent.
was,
Yeah,
50?
great defender.
Keita was 50, wasn't he?
Yeah, something like that.
He's
Yeah,
a
and
player.
Fabinho as well. Like I forget about Fabinho.
Oh, 30 odd. He was 30 or 35 or so.
They've spent a lot.
Yeah,
and
they
it
have,
does,
yeah.
It does, I mean, it does go to show that really and truly the league nowadays is more a case of who spends more money. And I do think that all stemmed, and the major problem, the foundation
Chelsea.
was Chelsea.
I was going to say Blackburn, but
Chelsea.
okay.
No, it's Chelsea. Chelsea ruined the modern football.
Chelsea kicked it off with that influx of cash, which was not earned. It was not built up over commercialism. It was not built up over success. It was a billionaire came in, gave you all the money you wanted.
My point is, so what?
City
Though?
done this-
So
hang
that-
on.
This is where I always come to
but
because
you're saying so what? But
you're making it out as if it's illegal. It's not
No,
illegal.
no, but
This is
Chelsea,
the game.
Chelsea were the catalyst for financial fair play.
I'm just gonna put my hands
Oh,
up.
but okay.
Yeah.
No. But my point. But my point is, okay. What is the issue here?
No, the issue.
Actually, you're talking about Real Madrid is probably the real catalyst in terms of.
But Real Madrid have got a history of being, elite in the world. They won multiple Champions Leagues, European Cups. They won multiple league titles.
Could you not say that's because they're state sponsored?
maybe so?
effectively,
Maybe
yeah.
because
Royal family, aren't they?
Yeah, by the
But Chelsea had fuck all. And then this billionaire's come in, and I'm not saying this because that's just how football's gone now. And unfortunately, City done the exact same thing.
And then
Liverpool now investing heavily. United have invested heavily.
PSG
It's
ramped it up
obviously
again,
nuts.
but yeah.
But the problem that you've got now is that because of Chelsea and how they treat their structure's fucked up as well, because they bring in managers for a year, 2 years, then fuck them off when there's no success and that's the main problem with football now, because you're never going to see an Arsene Wenger, you're never going to see an Alex Ferguson. It's not going to happen again because.
So my counter argument to that is again. So what? What is the argument here? I mean, I as a Chelsea fan, it doesn't make a difference to me if I had a manager for 10 years, and then this, or 20 years, whatever, like Wenger was there for. I want Chelsea to win trophies every season, win a trophy. If that means a different manager every season.
Like, are you saying, like, as a fan, why do you care about how the club's run? It's just you just care about the trophies. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, kind of.
That
Kind
sounds
of.
like what you're saying.
No, fine. That
Typical Chelsea fan.
Nah, I mean,
So you don't care. You don't care about.
we're talking about competition. What is competition in its fundamental basis? It's about winning. I'm not just talking about football.
I agree with that.
I agree with it. I actually think that more football clubs can take note from that and actually concentrate on winning rather than commercialism.
More clubs should follow the Chelsea model.
Not the Chelsea model, but in terms of like
The
wanting
ethos
to
of
win,
winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than look, we're running a good bit. Arsenal have been subject to it. United are now subject to it. The owners just want to make money. They've got no interest in winning.
Look at how Chelsea had gone about business though, within since Abramovich has taken over.
Go on.
Look at it just in general how this fucking shit they've done. Like they had Lukaku, got rid of him, brought in Drogba as an old man.
Win the league.
Huh?
Win the league.
Right.
We won the league that season. I know what you're talking
Don't
about.
be an
Yeah.
arsehole.
Yeah.
You've got
We won the league. We won the league. Am I
No,
wrong?
I said don't be an arsehole.
Oh yeah, pointing out facts. Yeah. Okay.
No, what I'm saying is so they brought in Drogba. Yeah, they won the league. Then they
Cheers,
bought
yeah.
him. They bought.
Let's not skip over that part. But go on. Yeah. And this is my point. We won the league.
No, but I'm saying how you go about business,
Okay.
I think, is wrong. I think what you do with certain managers, I think how they treated Mourinho. Yeah, Mourinho is what he is. I get that, but
wasn't that more down to the players, the second
yeah, but that's what I'm saying, because when you've got a manager who doesn't play for, who doesn't believe in the badge, who doesn't believe in the history of the club, when you got this, when you start getting players who don't believe in it, and now you've got a problem where. Like I said, you had Lukaku, fucked him off. You bought in Morata, fucked him off to bring in Higuain. That worked out well for you because what's he got so far? 3 goals.
Oh, look, it's only been there
You're
not
bringing
even
in
half
old
a
man.
season.
You bought in Shevchenko, a 30-year-old man, for 30 million. He done sweet FA.
I think he won the FA Cup.
You sold David Lewis for 50 million, then bought him back for 30 million.
And then he wins the league.
We won the league.
Yeah.
But the fact
We won the league.
But the fact of the matter is, your club in general is seen as a bit of a laugh.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Even when you win, and I'm saying this as a United fan, at the moment we are a fucking laughing stock.
And we deserve to be a laughing
We do.
stock.
We deserve to because our performance has shown it. But you're only what, one place ahead of us, and we can fucking, if you lose today, we can still skip over.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So
We're not doing well at the moment. Yeah, I
you're
agree.
a club that is in constant transition, even though you have the
I
money.
did actually say
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
to be
yeah.
fair.
Successful forever, for you know, for the next fucking 20, 30 years. You don't have to be that club who has to fear relegation.
No.
But you should be a club that can have some kind of stability. And Chelsea never have. Even when they're winning the league, you never have it because Conte won the league and then they fucked him off. Mourinho won the league and then they fucked him off. Fucking who else was it?
Ancelotti.
Ancelotti won the, and then they fucked him off. And it's that whole thing.
Di Matteo won the Champions League.
Yeah, Di Matteo won the Champions League and you fucked him off. And I'm sorry, winning is important,
Yeah.
but I'm sorry, but
No, that's
stability,
not- yeah, go on.
Stability is just as important. And I think that any manager given enough time, this is why it goes back to to Solskjaer. You give Solskjaer enough time and he will find that club. Because that club, United, they've got untold. They've got more money than the fucking Notre Dame. Yeah, they can win and they can find that winning. They can find that winning team. If you give the manager who believes in it, who believes in the history, believes in the badge, give him the time to do it, and you'll have success forever.
With a better board structure.
I do disagree slightly with the Solskjaer point, only
Shut up,
because.
Spurs. When did you last win something?
Let me just.
Yeah, you sound like Edward.
Let me just come back.
Don't go down that road.
Before we do that, can I just come back to Chelsea here, mate? Because I actually made that point, the same point that Paul did, not the whole.
Navs was getting happy that we moved
I
on.
do think that
No,
Chelsea,
I don't think I'm gone.
I do think Chelsea are a constant transitioning side, but one thing it has shown, and I don't necessarily agree with their methods, but it does work for Chelsea. It does work, to be fair. Chelsea win stuff like every other season, pretty much. So,
Hold on, but we're saying transitioning. So United transitioning is like Ferguson goes, the whole structure of the club changes because he's been there for so long. Wenger goes, the whole.
And he left a shit.
Yeah, but the whole structure of the club with Arsenal changed because Wenger's gone. With Chelsea, the most important person up until this season at least has always been there, and that's Abramovich. So say transitioning, but like he's the structure, the big boss has always been there.
But it's a we're talking about a transition inside as in terms of the football team, which is constantly transitioning. You change the manager, that is a transition inside. You're changing who puts out.
I'm not so sure because like even with Mourinho, like was he there 3 years? Like and then he had Ancelotti afterwards, and then Di Matteo. Well, like Louis was that? Yes, Scolari as well, but. The main guys like the Czechs, Terry's, Lampard's, Drogba's, and then guys like Ashley Cole and whoever they are on the side, they were always there as well. So plus Abramovich has always been there. So it's like it's not transitioned as much as say like maybe United have over the years since Ferguson.
But it's still a transition. You change the manager, it's a transition. Yeah,
it is because you look at, for example, like I said, they won the league with Conte. Yeah, you had what's that short fucking what's his name, Kanté. Yeah, Kante was in the position that he was in. Then fucking you brought in Jorginho, and shifted Kante out, and look at him now. And everyone's screaming at fucking what's his name, Sarri, to just put Kante back in put him back where he belongs.
Yeah, I don't know why they're persisting with Jorginho.
It's that you've got a team. You had a title-winning team that the following year has fallen to shit, and it's the exact same thing that happened at United. You had a title-winning team that fell to shit the following year.
I actually think the fact that Mourinho flopped so bad at United is actually...
He didn't. We actually won the league in the Europa, so...
You didn't win the league, mate.
Not the league, sorry.
Yeah,
the league.
Oh, wait, yeah.
The League Cup. Oh, okay.
That's
the
a big
Cup,
difference there.
Yeah.
We won the double.
Slight
The
difference.
fake double.
You won the fake double.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was more than Arsenal won, though.
I mean, it was...
Fuck you,
it kind of
Shane.
justifies... Oh, yeah, we're talking about Arsenal's honours, yeah.
I just want to say I would take those two trophies in the last 5 years. I would take them. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, with Mourinho, what happened at United kind of sort of justifies the way it ended at Chelsea in the sense that, you know, and actually I thought the same with AVB because when we sacked AVB, I was a little disappointed because I was like,
he had an impossible task though.
Yeah, that transition. But then what happened at Tottenham, I thought, oh, you know what? Actually, it justified our sacking of him because he then still flopped.
Who did he replace him with?
I think it was Di Matteo.
No, wasn't it?
No, it was Di Matteo because
Wasn't
they
it the
lost.
Israeli
It was
bloke?
after the Napoli first leg.
Wasn't it Avram
I
Grant?
think
I thought
it was Avram
Grant.
Grant.
No, that was
Mourinho.
way before that.
I think that was after Mourinho. Mourinho's first stint.
That
Avram
was when we beat.
Yeah, because they lost. Didn't you lose
right,
3-1
yeah.
to Napoli?
Yeah.
And then AVB got the boot, and Di Matteo come in. You won the second leg 4-2
or
was
something
it?
like
Yeah,
that.
so
And
yeah,
then
and
he
they
went on
went
to
through
win
and
it.
then went on to win the Champions League.
Wow. What's that like, Ed? Do you know about Champions League wins?
Have you ever been in the final?
Yeah.
Yeah, one.
Yeah,
they lost to Barca.
we had a player sent off. We had Lehman sent off.
Don't worry about it. One day maybe.
Fuck you.
Oh man, I hope we do it first.
I hope Tottenham do it before Arsenal as well. Yeah.
I don't have a lot of beef with Tottenham, to be honest. So like, I hope.
Because you've never seen him as a rival.
Yeah, I said that before. It's true.
Yeah, that's what Edward said. Yeah,
It is true. It is true.
Yeah.
That's the same thing as I used to fucking hate Arsenal. Now I just don't care about them.
Yeah, I don't know about that. The Arsenal fans, they make me care about them because the Arsenal fans are absolutely abhorrent. I bloody hate Arsenal fans.
I do think that Arsenal are likely to win.
And here comes.
I think if it came down to an Arsenal-Chelsea final, which is
I think it would be good for Arsenal to win the Europa.
I think Arsenal are probably going to win the Europa. However, if Spurs win the Champions League,
hang on. What happens if Chelsea or
that's a
Arsenal
good question.
win the Europa? Does fifth then get Champions League?
We can have 5 teams in the Champions League.
but what if an English team?
We can have 5 teams.
What if an English team wins the Champions League as well?
No, fifth won't get the Europa League winner gets the Champions League spot.
No,
yeah,
so
but I'm saying that say you finish 4th, then you're not taking the 4th spot because you win the Europa League. Does that mean 5th then gets the?
No. I think then it's just a fall.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
So basically, the only time that like a Tottenham Chelsea scenario would happen again is if, let's say,
Liverpool or Tottenham win the Champions League, Arsenal or Chelsea win the Europa
and you
League.
finished 4th.
Then
Let's say
we would
United
miss out
finished
because you won the
4th.
Champions
You would
League.
miss
Oh,
out.
right, okay,
Yeah.
That would be a nightmare if Tottenham win the Champions League, Arsenal finish 4th, Chelsea finish 5th and win the Europa League. And then we miss out.
Oh, is that what?
That's a nightmare.
Please let that happen.
I'd be happy with that because I don't want us to get Champions League. I want our board to actually have a look at themselves and think shit something's going wrong.
I can't see
I don't want us
past
to get
Chelsea for the Europa League. I really can't. And it paid because it's a rock and a hard place, isn't it? Who would a Tottenham fan rather win the Europa League, Chelsea or Arsenal?
Yeah, obviously you prefer Chelsea.
Not necessarily.
Valencia, surely.
Well, Valencia, yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Well, Eintracht Frankfurt as well.
Do you think? Yeah.
Do you see the comeback against Benfica?
Benfica, they killed it.
But do you think you'll beat Valencia over 2 legs?
I do.
I don't think Valencia are playing
Think
that
so.
well.
I think Arsenal will beat
Arsenal
Valencia
better.
over 2 legs definitely.
Apparently they have
reckon
trouble
they will.
scoring, even though they scored a few against Villarreal, but then in the bottom of La Liga anyway. Valencia, I don't think they scored like that. I don't even know the amount, but they haven't scored that many goals in La Liga.
So are we saying it's going to be an all English European Cup finals?
It
this
could
what we're saying?
it could be. It could be.
Very strong.
It could be.
I fancy Liverpool to beat
Do
Barcelona.
you think that they'll beat them over 2 legs?
But in a way, I kind of want that
I
to
think they could
happen
blitz them
because
in one of the
it's a good
legs.
look. It's a good look for English football. It's a great look for
It would bring
personally.
a lot more in before
Yeah.
Brexit kicks them all back out again. But
From a club perspective, no, but from an English game perspective.
But I mean,
yeah.
the first leg at the Nou Camp.
As long as you don't, I think Liverpool could just absolutely in the first 20 minutes just destroy Barca. Not at the Nou Camp necessarily, but at Anfield.
The biggest problem with Barcelona, as everybody knows, is you've got to get the ball off them. If you haven't got the ball,
I'd say the
saying
biggest
that-
problem is Messi, though.
well, yeah. But I mean, saying that, we obviously, I mean, they beat us 4-2 at Wembley, but then we went out there and drew 1-1.
Yeah.
But the chances we missed on the night probably could have nicked it 2-1.
What was your style of play? Were you pressing as well?
Yeah, like high press. So basically, what Liverpool do, basically,
Yeah, they call
that's
it
similar
the
sort of
Gegen
thing.
press. It's called. It's called the Gegen press. Isn't
Well,
it?
you're copying Klopp, yeah? He's pretty much his, like, Gegenpress is his thing.
But Pochettino was doing it before Klopp came. But anyway, yeah.
But not before Klopp, because he started
I
at
think
Dortmund,
Klopp
didn't he?
made it popular, the Gegen press. I think he pretty much did. He pretty much.
Yeah, Gegen's
No, he
it's a
did.
German word, isn't it?
Yeah, the Gegen press. It is actually. Yeah, it's German. But it is a German word. Like,
I thought it was called high press.
it's called the Gegen. No, it's called the Gegen press.
Just high pressing football.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's basically how it went out there, basically, and it was 1-1. But we probably could have. I don't know. I mean, to see it over 2 legs. I don't know. I don't know with Liverpool. I don't know. I mean, I'm not even nailing my colours to the master of Spurs because Ajax are a fucking good team.
They were amazing.
Ajax,
They play
they're shocking
really well.
me, mate. They're shocking me.
And
Well, to be honest, either team would want to have the other team in the semi-finals of Champions League.
I suppose, yeah. And to be honest with you, I said this to Paul the other day in the gym. I think I would rather.
Show off.
All right, Mike. Don't show off.
I think I would rather play Liverpool in the final than Barcelona. But Paul made quite a good point. He said But if you lose to Liverpool, it's like, you've lost to Liverpool. But if you lose to Barca, it's like, yeah, man, well, it's Barca.
That's a loser's attitude, though.
Well,
you must have had that attitude for the past 10 years or so.
Oh.
It just got real.
But you lost the final to Barcelona.
Yeah.
That was more than 10
but
years.
we're not like we're upset about that.
We lost.
He lose 2 or 3.
We lost like how many times to Barcelona? We got to
2 finals to them, didn't we?
We got to 3 finals in 4 years, and I think
you lost
twice,
2 of them to Barcelona.
twice we lost to Barcelona.
Although one of them, was it Sir Alex was like, that's probably the greatest fucking team.
Yeah.
But the point is, we're still like we're still upset about. We're not
Fucking
like
bash that
it was
one right
Barca,
in the
so it's
corner.
okay. We were like well in that.
That wasn't the Barca of now, was it? So I mean, that was was it a last minute goal by Belletti, wasn't it?
Enric Larsson, like maybe no, he helped. I think he set up whoever scored. Yeah,
to make it 2-1.
to be honest, I
I
blocked
think
that
it was
moment.
Barcelona's beating.
Fucking
Love Larson.
Did you?
Fuck you! What'd you say, man?
You heard me.
Trying to sneak it in.
Judas scored, didn't he? Or did he
Yeah,
get
just a
disallowed or
random
something?
guy. Yeah.
I think I don't think anyone losing to Barca would be like, you'd still be upset regardless. But I would feel better losing a final to Barca than I would losing to Liverpool
Because of the stature of Barca, or because Liverpool's like an English club.
because it's Barcelona. It's purely because of that. Because
The stature
exactly that. Because Barcelona are Barcelona.
But that's what I mean. Everyone knows about Barcelona and what they can do to you.
Plus, I just hate Liverpool.
And there is that.
Yeah, I mean,
And you got
United
that
fans.
would give if you lost a final to Liverpool, like I said to you when we were in the gym. If you lose a final to Liverpool, that's something. And you know what Liverpool fans are like as well. They're arseholes.
man.
And
Absolute
they'll never
dicks.
fucking let that down. It's always going to be a case of when we beat Spurs, fucking they got ostrich for a fucking on their badge. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's
Fucking
like,
chicken, you
it's-
mean? Yeah.
No, it's a cockerel.
it's
yeah.
a fucking cockerel. Yeah, it's a cockerel stood on a football.
Yeah.
Thank you. An old football, one of the leather ones. You know, the old leather ones.
That makes
Yeah,
a
whatever.
difference.
The one's
It's
made
a-
out of pigskins.
Yeah, it's a cockerel. It's a cockerel. But whatever.
It's like in a cornflakes box.
So let's say it now then. Top 4. We'll go around the table. How the top 6 is going to be. Who's going to win the Europa? Who's going to win the Champions League? Nav, go.
I think Liverpool for the title, then City, then Tottenham, then Arsenal. Champions League, I think. I hate to say it, I think Liverpool again.
Hold on, did you put Arsenal
No,
6?
Arsenal
Fifth. Oh, fourth.
Fourth. So I think we're doing the top 4, right?
What,
Yeah.
top 6?
Yeah, no.
Oh, sorry, top 6.
Yeah, top
oh,
6.
Top 6. Then 5th and 6th, I don't care. But I don't, yeah. Again, that's that Chelsea. You know, if it's not top 4, it's nothing.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Europa League, I got back.
Edward's going to say something silly now, like Arsenal are going to win the league. And you're going to say something silly.
Is it still mathematically possible? No. So I think Liverpool will win the league as well. Like City, obviously second. I think Arsenal third, Tottenham fourth, Chelsea fifth, United sixth, Europa League, Arsenal, Champions League. Anyone but Tottenham. I've got 3 options, just anyone but Tottenham.
Sadly, I think Liverpool will win the league. I think City will come second. I think Tottenham will come third. Chelsea will come fourth. Arsenal will come fifth. United will come sixth. Champions League, Barca. Europa League, Arsenal.
Yeah. City to win the league. Liverpool. Chelsea to finish third. Spurs fourth. Arsenal will win the Europa and Barcelona Champions League. I'd love to see Ajax win it.
I'd
Yeah,
love to
yeah,
see
yeah.
Ajax
I'd
win
like
it.
to see
I
Ajax
agree.
win it.
I'd
Do
love
you
to
know
see
what,
Ajax
right?
win it.
Even though we're playing them, I would love to see him win it.
Yeah,
I
I'd
really
love to see
would
Ajax win
because it's a shame because like I've said many times they'll get ripped apart in the summer. Their players.
Their
I mean,
players
De
are
Jong.
gone, mate.
De
They're
Jong's already
decimated,
signed
yeah.
for Barca, isn't he? So he's gone already.
The Lit was going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't he already?
No, he hasn't.
I don't think he has.
He
but
hasn't already
apparently
signed.
he gave a little smile and a wink when someone asked him the question. He said nothing's signed yet, but he gave a smile and a wink.
Yeah,
so
it's
I
like,
reckon
you've
he'll
got
go
that
Barca.
Van den Beek in
Yeah.
midfield, that David Neres, the winger.
It's just money, really, because they're in the semi-final of the Champions League. They're just not being paid
But they're a
enough in
selling
Ajax.
club
No,
anyway.
but
I think Ajax need to
But
sell to
because the
survive.
league hasn't got the money, is it? It
Yeah.
hasn't got. That's,
It's the sponsorship because it's a prestigious
Yeah, it
league
used to be.
as
It
well.
used to
So
be anymore, but it used to be.
When you consider some of the
The
talent that's come
Eredivisie is
through that
not.
league
oh
over
mate,
the
it's
years,
just
man.
like a constant production
Yeah.
line.
Of just world class, just phenomenal.
But the Eredivisie
players.
in the current climate has always been a league that sells their best players. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's ever going to change.
No, they've always done it, but
Go on, Mike. You haven't done your top 6.
Oh yeah, well I'm gonna go
sorry,
City.
Mike.
City winners, Liverpool second, Spurs, United, Chelsea, Arsenal. I'm gonna go.
Wait, did he put us
Yeah.
6?
I'm gonna go. I've said it for months, and that's why I'm not changing. I'm not gonna change what I'm saying. I've just
Hey,
said it.
it's your opinion.
No, it's
man.
just because I've said it for so long now. I feel like that's what's gonna happen. But anyway.
Everyone has the right
Yeah,
to be
it's
wrong.
true,
It's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, like Arsenal third. There we go. Europa League. I'm going to say Chelsea. And the Champions League, I'm going to go for Barca. I think for the Champions League. I think. I don't want to jinx it, but I think it's going to be a Tottenham Barca final, and I think we're probably going to get dry bummed.
Tottenham's first final.
We'll get dry bummed in the final.
You got away with words. didn't you?
if Barcelona win it, John Terry's going to come out wearing a Barcelona.
I hope he does. Full kit.
He's going to put on his...
Shin pads and all. I fucking hope he does. And walks up there with Bridges' wife.
Whoa.
Sorry. Is that too soon?
Nah. It's not.
Happened ages ago.
It's fine.
All right, on that note, I think we're done.
We are.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, yeah. Like, thanks for listening. We'll see you soon, yeah? Or you'll hear us soon. Is that?
Nah, it's fine.
Oh, hear us, see us.
Yeah, we'll do a
What you
video
do,
once
man.
it-
Yeah, no,
It's much of a much.
it is.